Young Burns victim succumbs to injury. I can barely read that. She was a great kid. Yeah, I read enough. I mean, it sounds like an accident, essentially. People may have been idiots and doing drugs and partying, but that would be a accident in the past. Theft. Did I really write that? It was just edit that out. Oh, shit. Oh.
So tell us more about what happened at your store with the robbery.
You know, the day started like any other. I did my various daily duties, some light dusting, and then manned the register.
A lot of people come in?
Yes. Well, that's subjective. Several.
Well,
Lines went for 3 blocks.
Her friends arrived.
Mid-afternoon.
All 5?
Yes. There were 5. At first they were browsing, looking at my oddities and the special collections in the museum cabinet. And things were okay.
Looking for
I
Mogwai.
take it something bad happened.
I want a gremlin.
Yes, it turned quickly. They said the normal, newer books didn't work. They wanted older things, rarer. Kept saying I knew where I kept them. So insistent. I mean, I refused for a time. However,
it turns out, yeah, I do know where it is. I'm a witch. Show me where you keep your Necronomicon. I want to buy that.
well, eventually, after endless
Trust me, my
back
parents
and
are loaded.
forth, I caved.
What did they want? What did you give them?
Exactly what they wanted. My oldest book. A book on Grand Rock mythology.
A book on Dangling Rock.
That's one thing covered in it.
What else is in it?
It covers the greater area, natural formations and other important connections to the Earth, from long ago until my grandmother stopped updating it. There's been a lot of animosity surrounding Dangling Rock and the others here over the years. This tells some of the history between the tribes.
Like Native Americans?
No, well, in part. This goes back before and after that time. It has original writings, history, divinations, and musings from my whole family, generations upon generations.
Where is it? Can we take a look?
It's at my store. I can give you a copy. When I asked why they were interested, I thought they were only looking to get into the basics of spell casting from what we had been talking about. The older boy only replied, he was.
And the book doesn't have that.
No, it has the history of the area, but some important pieces of information too. There are many natural resources, important minerals found in the area. Maybe they were just making sure everything they read beforehand was true, to confirm in the book.
Interesting.
Yes. Unfortunately, that tome really was of no real interest. The boy looked at it briefly and then laughed at me and threw it back on the shelf. It almost hit me. He was really after something else. His second request was far more specific. My original copy of the Book of Games.
Book of Games. Did he steal a copy or an original copy of the Book of Games? Is that what's going on?
So you were borderline assaulted when you got the book thrown towards you and robbed.
And you didn't call the
You
police.
didn't think to call us. File a report.
It's not my way. Besides, they only left with a single piece of paper. The one book was thrown my direction and the other left on the counter, not too serious. How much priority would this Mickey Mouse shop have given that?
We would have taken the details of the incident, gone, and talked to the suspects when we could.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, but I didn't find it that serious.
So they asked to see 2 books. A book on natural phenomenon from the area, and this game book.
Wait, what was that? What was that?
And this game book. Yeah. And this game book.
I thought it was more than it
And
was.
this game
Oh.
book.
The book of
Fuck
evidence,
it.
yes.
You said they left with a piece of paper.
Yeah, what exactly did they take?
An old document that was held in the book. Part of a diary.
A lot of glitching.
The diary of a man who lived several hundred years ago.
What would they want with that?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't know he was holding it when he stormed out. It just seemed like he just wanted to show me.
And after you knew Alana was with them and that she lived right down the street from you, you didn't confront them later? Maybe go over and ask for your property back?
5 people versus 1. What could I...
It's
You
that
could
were
cast
just
a
going to
spell
let it
on
go
them.
and call it good.
Not exactly. That document wouldn't be very useful to them. I knew I'd get it back eventually.
How?
I don't know.
Magic.
Just figured it would come back.
She said like one page remained with her, the other page went back with them. The page she has is the reversal, so if something does go haywire, of course you're going to go back to the source and be like, hey, I fucked up, I need that other thing, and that's the whole second half of your movie. But yeah, it does kind of put her in a bit of a suspicious predicament. Because she's she runs the shop. It's her business. For somebody to steal and for you to not report it to the authorities definitely raises a few question marks.
Greg wanted to go to that store that day. The witchcraft gothic one. I wasn't really into it. We went in and looked at a bunch of books on the racks, some of the jewelry and the little museum section. Honestly, we were looking for the stuff they had in the display, the old creepy things. And when we looked back, Greg was arguing with the store owner. She seemed really nice before that. Now they were yelling. Greg wanted some books she claimed not to have. Some family thing he really wanted to look at.
Was the book called Grand Rock Mythology?
I think so. She gave him a copy, but he wanted to see the real thing, I guess. She finally went to the back room and got it. He looked through and then asked for some other stuff.
What sort of other stuff?
A different book. It had a bunch of papers in it.
That's every
He
book.
got angry. We weren't really sure why. He just kept demanding them. Eventually she brought something out and he looked at the book, and then before we knew what was happening, he took a piece of paper and left for the door and told us to follow him.
What paper did he take?
I don't know. He was just ranting about the store.
It was the epilogue.
She obviously bothered him because she wouldn't help him.
Sounds like she helped him. Did it look old?
Yes,
So, something Ruth had, or created.
probably.
And the book. What was it called?
I don't remember.
Game of
Do
Thrones.
you remember what it looked like?
Or
Yeah, it had light blue on the cover and some ornate design.
Why did your friend rob the store? From what you said, he seemed like a nice guy. Why not buy the thing?
I don't know. I don't think it was for sale since it wasn't out.
Your friend robs the store, right? And you didn't know anything about it, even when you left with him, right?
Yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing that it was a robbery. By the time we walked to meet him at the front of the store, he was on the way out. He had some old piece of paper which I didn't notice at the time.
what was that little bit with the recording missing? That can't be good. It does seem important. I'm just not sure in what way. On one hand, like maybe it's supposed to be helping me determine if something's true or false, maybe, but I kind of may have sunk myself on the ship with that by not actively trying to correlate anything with the rest. There's a lot of other things to be taken in. Oh, there's 4 more Ruths to be watched. Oh, hell yeah.
So what's this diary page they grabbed?
Oh, we call it the Key of John.
And what's the Key of John?
Who is John?
It's a band.
The
Pretty big.
A document hundreds of years old, stolen by your victims 2 days ago. The document refers to a man called John van Persie, an early 16th century explorer from the Netherlands. He met indigenous cultures all over the world for the first time, gained a lot of knowledge on how the world works.
So was he a witch, or as you call it, a
Warlock.
that sort of thing?
No. But he met many types of people, many spiritual, and gained their trust.
Maybe he was a
They
necromancer.
gave him some of their writing to take with him. They knew having it as far away from them as possible would save the true usefulness of their work from being uncovered. He took it back to the old world.
So, you do a spell, incantation, ritual, whatever. You do some stuff on the hill, say some stuff in your house and stuff like that, but what's it all supposed to do?
Magic.
Well, in this case, the key interprets the part of the game book as originally intended. It imbues the enchanter with newfound windows into the world.
Newfound windows into the world.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to ask for an explanation for that.
Knowledge, power. Your kind would call them abilities. Powers.
Powers. Like superpowers. Superhero stuff?
Whoa!
Can they control lightning?
I want invisibility.
I just had another thought. So we're dealing kind of in the concept of like spiritual, occult type concepts, right? What if it just happened to be an event where more in the realm of Lovecraftian stuff, where those four people not necessarily acquired superpowers, but they gained knowledge and insight beyond the world that they've been in and went mad as a result, obtaining the truth, being far more than you were well equipped to handle. And maybe they either committed suicide or killed each other off, or had reason to believe that to reach whatever knowledge and enlightenment or something or other, they committed suicide. That's another possibility, and maybe everybody is innocent. Except for Colton. Because he's done. He's out. I gotta make a really good cheesesteak. Maybe. Or cheesecake. Cheesesteak. Like a meat pie. Ugh. So here we have the Book of Necronomicon, or well, not really, but nothing particularly stands out. Yeah, nothing's really sticking out to me. The most obvious thing was this little E or McDonald's arch or whatever. It kind of looks like an omega with an extra pillar for support. You were the alpha, I was the omega. Together, we become one. I'm loving it.
I am not used to such events in my store. As you know, I was working around 3 p.m. They barge in and demand to see my most prized books. I said I didn't know where anything was and to come back later. They insisted I find the books and wouldn't leave until they had them. So they needed them now. I tried to tell them how cluttered everything was in the store,
were in a
but they
rush.
didn't believe me. One of them knocked over my card displays.
Oh, not the Yu-Gi-Oh
trying
cards.
to make a point, no doubt. I had had enough of them then, and walked over to the drawer behind the display cabinet, where I found the books that they were after. They snatched it out of my hands, looked it over, and demanded to see my older, original writings as well. They took the document we're talking about, and off they went. I picked up my display of cards and went back behind the counter and finished the day.
Just surprised we didn't get any calls about a robbery at your store that
But
day.
she didn't call it in.
I understand, but it's typically not our way. I tried
What is
to
your
stop
way?
them. I wanted to give them a fake key, but it just wasn't possible.
Uh-oh. Little Miss Witchcraft taking the law into her own hands, is she? Yeah, this could be bad for you, Ruth.
Anything else about the key? The key of John.
I have a lot of books and documents. I'd have to go back to the store to tell you more. I can give you an inventory list if you'd like, with descriptions. Hasn't been updated in a while, though. Come to think of it, I think last looked at that particular document 30 years ago. But that's not to say it's not exactly as described.
30 years ago. Wait a minute.
No, what was it?
All right, Ruth, come on. What do you know about this thing?
I'm not sure. I must be
30
having
years ago.
a senior moment. Something like a song or a recipe.
Recipe for cheesecake.
A song.
Ruben was right.
A recipe. The kid comes in, asks about 2 specific books he knows you have, and then leaves with this old piece of paper. It could have been an accident, but nothing about this case seems like an accident, and maybe it's another knockoff you sell.
Let's make one thing clear, gentlemen. All of the things I sell in my store are genuine.
Genuine bullshit.
My store sells and collects heritage articles and other heirlooms dating hundreds of years.
Those magic kits you sell for $10 are genuine.
Yeah.
They
Genuine
bring genuine
Milton
joy
Bradley
to those
products.
purchase-
So the stuff you have in the cabinets is real. The expensive stuff.
Of course. And those things aren't for sale.
Would you mind us coming to take a look around? Maybe take some pictures of your
Yes,
inventory?
please.
Yes,
You would mind.
We could
Oh.
probably get a warrant.
I could make an exception.
Great. Tell us what we'll find out about the key.
She's already planning their deaths. Officers, you're fucked. Make your peace. You pissed a witch off. Something about 30 years kind of tickled the back of my head for a moment there, because there was something else we were dealing with, and I think it had something to do with Colton, maybe? Because the game takes place 2012, right? So if you rewound 30 years or so, that would be like 1980s territory, like 1982. There was something else we had. This, look, date and time collected. This is Colton's medical thing, and his blood stuff collected, or whatever it was 1983, almost exactly 30 years ago. Would it be related? Yeah, I don't remember the exact date of his niece dying. I don't have an easy document that has that. Yeah, so a few things probably happened at 30 years ago, basically. What was this? Oh, right, the underground thing. Don't know how the military stuff comes into any of it yet either. Let's watch this one now. Like, this is getting interesting, but I don't know even why. It's getting interesting for all the wrong reasons?
Okay, fine. When put together and done on the correct night, the last time moon is in full shadow in October, the spell they tried should work by opening the portal to the spirit world, since the doorway is at its thinnest. This lets the enchanter communicate with the required spirits to activate parts of the 5 branches or pillars of the Leviathan, or the Sabbatic Goat,
Leviathan,
as it's known in some circles. These refer to improved or enhanced sense, as you know it. The traditional ones: sight, hearing, smell, touch, breathing. Communication is another. Manipulation.
It's close to like
of
30
matter,
senses, actually.
that sort of thing as well. Or it could be a combination. making your existing senses heightened and the ones you don't know you have.
Improved breathing, communication. Okay.
Those are the closest words in our language to describe them, but not as you or I know them. Communication can mean talking across various planes of physical existence and locations, or just harnessing metaphysical world to use it in our world.
Talking with your dead relative.
Anyway.
Like a
Anything else
niece?
happen with ritual? Lights, sounds, fire.
Death. It always results in death.
So why do it?
That's the big question, isn't it? Keep in mind, it's not always the enchanter's demise. At least when done properly, it shouldn't.
So you need a
Well,
sacrifice.
what's this thing called, the spell that they tried?
The Burning Shadows Ritual.
Burning Shadows Ritual. That's a new term. Let me just type that in. Burning Shadows Ritual? Oh, but fucking hell. What the shit? Damn, you sent me down a hell of a rabbit hole with just dog tooth. Let's see what the evidence was. Communication, sight and hearing, touch, scent, telekinesis. Okay, if you take telekinesis out and you ignore communication for a moment, the rest of this looks like, okay, normal human abilities within power, vision, death, and matter. Your magic's flawed. Does it not take antimatter into account? He who can create controlled antimatter can do a lot of destruction. Combine the science with the voodoo bullshit. Either way, something interesting must have happened about 30 years ago. Same time Colton's niece died. And we're dealing with heightened senses, looking into past the meta world shit. Obviously, if you lost somebody, right around that time frame, you'd be desperate to anything, right? As far as I know, this is an indie game, yeah. We're going through all these, hell yeah.
Look, I'm telling the truth.
You start out lying, saying you don't even remember your own name. Now she would just start believing you?
I believe him more than
Things
you,
have been coming
Colton.
back to me since we've been talking. I swear.
AB.
I got to the
Negative.
house that night, and I heard some weird noises, like they were in my head, but outside too. I felt like I needed to go inside somehow, and I saw lights coming from inside. So I walked up to the porch, turned the door handle, and went inside. Inside the house, it was dark, but I saw these colors coming from the back room. I went down the hall and reached for the door, but I must have hit my head because the next thing I knew it was morning and I was back out on the porch. After a minute, I went inside into the living room and checked, but it was too late. Everyone was already dead. I swear.
Do you remember how you hit your head? At what point was that?
No, I don't remember.
You hit your head a lot, don't you?
No.
How about the location? What was the last thing you remember being in the living room that night?
I honestly can't remember. Stuff was weird at the time. The noises were
Stuff
both
weird
in
right
my
now.
head and outside of it. What I was looking at was weird too. Things were kind of like a picture, like a painting, or like a stained glass window, and all distorted somehow.
Sounds odd.
Yeah, I'll say.
Do you remember if you saw anyone in there, in the house at night?
No. I mean, maybe some of the shapes were people. They were like paper dolls or something, moving, just shapes of people and noises.
And nothing in the morning either?
It was too ugly. I looked away and left.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by ugly people. I am getting the vibe that he very well may be an innocent person. if we want to entertain the notion that, yes, some kind of either occult-like activity is going on, or some sort of chemical drug thing being released that does similar perception-altering things, that he may have just been victimized in the wrong place and just caught in there. If it's like the full occult thing, like maybe, mind-controlled in and stuff, or something along those lines. Now he's like, look, man, I'm serious. I kind of look like a gnome.
5 branches of a pentagram and 5 victims. Seems like the spell
Wait a
worked.
minute. That is true.
So you think it was suicide? Like a mass cult thing?
Well, 5 people is not a mass
Let me
cult.
just point one thing out to you, geniuses. That spell, that ritual, the burning shadows, you didn't have 5 victims, you had 4. It worked, but not like it was
Does the
supposed
5th
to.
inherit?
4 people died, so something changed. Otherwise, all 5 of them would still be alive.
Yep.
Remind us what the burning shadow
I see where this
ritual
goes.
is in your eyes.
I don't know. I've only ever heard of it from things not to try in that book.
Top 10 things you should never do in the book.
So what changed?
I guess that's for you to find out.
It kind of sounds like a notion of... Well, it does boil back down to sacrifice, but 4 people's lives are exhausted to somehow or other benefit the remaining 5th? Is that... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... So it's not this. Like when they refer in pentagram, it would be a star. I thought for a moment maybe there might be something to, which one's better at communication, or, that's it. But if he happened to be nearby, and let's say they were performing some kind of ritual of killing 4 people, and the 5th one benefits somehow, but there's a 6th person nearby that gets caught up, could that mean something? I don't know.
So do you think these kids are involved with whatever your niece got into back then?
Seems like they were definitely trying something similar. Although my niece was the only one who died in that fire, and everyone else got out relatively okay, besides some burns.
So, something similar then.
If they did it to themselves, then they all but died acting foolishly. I'd say that's pretty similar.
You really believe it though? That this stuff is real?
There's so many people that believe in this witchcraft stuff. Witchcraft. People look you straight in the eye and tell you that they think it's real.
That doesn't mean it's real.
So many of those people. There's got to be truth.
No,
behind
that's
it.
not how that works.
My own family thought it, and I've seen some weird stuff in this job. So if it is, the pendulum's got to swing back another way.
And how do we do that?
Hard work, perseverance, being vigilant. It's not hard. Just got to be determined to do the right thing.
Is it also possible that maybe this guy is so orchestrated in this mess that this is just some ploy to bring his niece back, or to contact her, or some other shit in that vein? And it's an even bigger conspiracy kind of situation. Maybe I'm just trying to think too hard about this.
I don't know the history of that particular spell, the Burning Shadows. Records weren't kept of who contributed to the Book of Games originally. The Burning Shadows was old, even back then when it was first collected.
Why is it called the Burning Shadows?
I don't know, if I'm honest.
Care to guess?
Not really. No one's ever done it successfully, as far as I'm aware. I've kept it away from people. Again, I don't know where they found out that I had it.
That is a good point, too. The way she's describing it, they did go to her shop and seemed to be pretty damn sure that she had this this book or tome, how would they know? Unless it was Colton that knew, and Colton was manipulating him all along. Right?
If the ritual turned out the way it did, and assuming that all the students did everything correctly, why didn't it work?
I don't know. And I'm as surprised as you are to hear that there's a survivor. They should have all died. They were all close to the origin where it's the strongest. The power should have emerged right there at the source.
Right. If they had the key document and knew the original incantation, it should have worked. Could they have messed it up somehow?
I suppose that's possible.
Maybe a sixth person.
Human error is always a possibility.
And if they didn't do it right, why didn't they? Assuming they didn't want to kill themselves, something must have been different.
What do you know, Ruth?
That's the big question.
Why don't you
Somebody
answer
could
it?
have changed something. But why?
Would you like to try something? I have just learned it.
How recently?
Very.
What is it?
The earthing seance.
Oh. The earthing seance? It sounds terrible. Assuming I even spelled it correctly. We still have 3 more of these, so...
What do you know about the burning the shadows ritual?
Nothing. Not heard that before.
Your friends never mentioned it? Greg, Alana, Emily, maybe?
No.
You sure?
You're asking me if I know something, and I'm telling you I don't. Not sure what else to tell you.
So the witness saying that's what your friends were up to is lying, right?
Yeah.
I believe that was Heather's voice. She's claiming ignorance.
Okay, I have something I need to get off my chest.
Is it your bra?
I've been hearing voices.
We guessed as much.
How long have you been hearing these voices?
Ever since that night, I just don't like what they're saying. They're getting aggressive.
Why do you think they started then?
I was there.
The night of the attack? You were at the house?
Yes, and it was horrible. But so was he.
Whoa. Let's not go throwing out wild accusations.
A patrol car was outside the house, I swear.
Okay, well, what were you doing there?
Sorry.
Or is this something the voices are telling you?
They confirm it. They say they're all there.
Who?
I don't know what they mean. I only just started hearing them. Ever since that night when I was there, I was walking and I saw lights move inside the house. They were all different colors.
You saw lights?
Yes, strange colors. Coming from downstairs windows. Colors I've never really seen before, if I'm honest.
Colors you hadn't seen before.
Yes, I know how strange that sounds. It's the only way I can describe it. They were beautiful, but almost terrifying at the same time. What is that smell?
Smell?
Yes, like a fire pit, like something's burning.
Yeah, I don't smell anything. Do you?
No.
I mean, I farted like
You're hearing
15
things.
minutes ago.
Smelling things. Are you sure you're all right now? Don't need anything, do you? Maybe you should have some more water.
Her sensory
So,
system is
what
failing.
happens when you get to the lights in the window?
I looked inside naturally. What I saw was the students, Alana and her friends, everything decked out in white, candles lighting the room. They were sitting down, and the lights seemed to hover around them. I had my camera with me, but it wouldn't turn on. The battery went dead.
Interesting thing out of that little bit was the fact that she pointed out Lieutenant Colton, which helps heighten my suspicions.
So you see lights inside the house. Then what happened?
The lights moved faster and faster. The candles were flickering. I knocked on the window because I was scared for them. I wanted them to stop, but they didn't hear me, no matter how hard I knocked. The shadows in their room were weird, longer, not normal, not moving right. I got a bad feeling, so I went around the back to the house to try to get into the back door. It was locked. I tried the doorknob once, looked away for a second, and then I reached the doorknob again and an explosion happened.
In the house?
Yeah, I ran
She
back
might be
to
the
the
second
side,
person.
and the windows of the living room were all blown out. It was dark and abnormally quiet. I couldn't tell other people were inside, so I left really quickly.
This is quite a story, but we've heard a lot today. Why not tell us this when we picked you up today? Why not call us last night?
I didn't think you'd believe me. I just wanted to put everything I saw past me. Then when we started talking about Hal's a suspect, I got scared. I'm still shook up about it. I didn't say anything that night and just went home.
Oh, quit
I
the
put my
act,
head
honey.
down and I fell asleep instantly. If you hadn't picked me up today, I would have thought the whole thing was just a dream.
Uh-oh. Word when you broke it. Okay, I'm not familiar with that Lovecraft story. I'm not familiar with most of them either, though, to be honest. Obviously, something weird's happening here. But if she was present, like, yeah, she was saying that, like, they were dressed up and this and that, and man, I think it's referencing that night anyways. That would mean it's not just the 5 original people, but there was the Caleb himself that was nearby, got caught up in this mess, as was her. So that brings it up to at least 7 people. Unless Colton was there in a police car or some shit, which could be even 8, but it's more variables. As if, you know, taking a stick and throwing it in the spokes kind of messes the whole system up. The only part that I can't swallow is the notion of she saw colors that don't exist or she's never seen before. Like, that one is hard for me to objectively acknowledge. But I won't go into a long rant on that. We should probably focus on what the fuck is going on our screen. The database is fucked. No, it's better in the screen. Unknown source. Detective, watch out for her. And the others. Anyone you let free could come for you too. I lived a sufficient life. It don't matter. We're all here counting on you to do the right thing. Oh, is it anonymous? Put them all away. Oh. It went away as soon as I guess they really wanted my attention to read that message. So Anonymous Hacker is saying everyone is guilty. Which is kind of getting in line with my own suspicions, to be honest. What was the earthing seance? Yeah, it does sound as if... I don't know where Ruth herself was at that moment, though. And I'm not sure if Colton was there, even if it was in a patrol car, but it kind of sounded like she called him out on that. If I went with that at least, then I can feel comfortable that everyone was there except for Ruth. She would still be the one that I'm not sure about. Because let's make one thing clear. I don't trust Colton at all. Just because of that medical blood test report being altered. I'm really glad I noticed it. That really helps put things in perspective. Earthing seance. Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, so we got some stuff there, but before I do that, I wanted to do... What was the document that reported his blood type? Caleb's. So this was a, what was it? Blood cells and basically urine. So I don't know what any of that stuff is. Here we do see some numbers pointing to stuff that must have been inked in afterwards. Right? Oh, they're being marked because they're out of parameters. It's like a physical. If the normal range is 6 to 17, this 19 is better look at your WBC levels, etc. He's really low on HCT, etc., etc. Just looking for any potential hints of there being any alterations with a pen or a marker, or is this even the one that... No, this is not the one. I don't think this one listed as blood type, did it? Oh, yeah, it does right there. AB positive, and it's typed out. That's going to be a lot harder to doctor. Okay. Okay. Never mind. I just wanted to double check that and see if there were possibly any other alterations going on that maybe I did not spot. Everything else feels as if it is in line. Okay, that's fine. I wanted to get that out of the way while I was at it. All right, Ruth, you and your weird earthing seance.
I know what you're wondering. If it's really possible. I'm a medium, among other things.
A medium for what?
A medium. I don't remember ever hearing you offering to tell people's fortunes. Or do you need to read lifelines in people's hands?
No, not that. I can offer a different type of service.
Happy
I've only
ending
just
service?
begun very recently, but it's the earthing seance. Care for a demonstration then?
Say yes.
Talk to my dead relatives through you. No thanks, I'm good.
No, quit being
A real
bitch.
seance. Sure.
Okay, we gotta volunteer.
So what goes on in one of these, what do you call it?
Earthing seance.
Yeah, get with the times, man.
We could find
It's a
out some
seance.
interesting things, perhaps. Shall we try it then?
Please.
Go, yeah. Your choice, officers.
Say yes. I'm gonna guess they said yes, because just this thumbnail alone looks like... Oh, hell yeah.
We'll need to turn the lights down low.
I don't know.
We need a single central light source. Oh, and tell me what you want to know.
Will my phone work?
What did my ex-wife do with all my money?
Place your hands on the ticket book.
Wait, is the guy on the right that...
Tell us who killed
No.
them. The students.
I'll contact them. Look down into the light.
Ugh, it's pretty bright.
Look at the table then. Look through the table. Try to see the floor. The layers directly below the floor. Each one below it. Past the floor. Keep going. Past each layer of the building. You're at the ground. What do you see? Can you go further down? Beyond? Further? 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 It's dark and cold. Keep going. Down. Down, down to the center. We're almost there.
Pretty sure there's a molten core down there, though.
And
Should get pretty hot after him. Not that much.
further. And we're there. They're here now too. We've come for knowledge.
I just came for the entertainment. Ooh,
The
wait.
knowledge of
Look at the way it glitched. Her face changed a different color.
the knowledge of who extinguished the spirits in the mortal realm of Emily Thomas, Brian Watson, Gregory Sims, and Alana Morgan.
She's name dropping.
Speak to me as I am one. We ask of you what is asked before us.
What did my wife spend money on?
Guide me to the light and through the truth. Guide me to the light and through the truth. Guide me. I await your guidance.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. Can someone flip the lights
I don't know,
for us?
keep them off, let her
Never mind,
finish.
I'll find them.
So what did his wife
There's
spend money
evil
on?
here.
Oh, yep, there's evil in here too, apparently. If this is the embodiment of evil. Got it right here on my desktop. Definitely something weird going on with the camera during that. It's not conclusive, though. Since we have full evidence of shit being fucked up the entire game with their camera systems, what's recorded is not necessarily to be trusted. So you're thinking she might be a hypnotist. That is possible, and I was thinking in that term too, where it's not performing an actual ritual, but rather, let's just hypnotizing people, we'll call it that. She's just adding them to her mind-controlled minion type of thing. That would make sense. And you could do that in front of a camera, because the camera doesn't, for all I know, I just saw somebody doing hocus pocus, kind of thing, not setting you up to join my militia of zombie mind-controlled whatevers. They're all lying. Don't let them get away with it. Each one will betray the other in order to save themselves. Oh, so then it's a favorite game. Unless I don't like any of them, in which case everyone dies, right? Or, well, they don't die, I guess they get arrested. So what are you in for? I cast a magic spell. What are you in for? Assault, murder, rape, and corpulent espionage. But you make me sick. Casting spells. So I'm gonna assume this is the aftermath. The before, during, after?
That was fun. Spooky. Like a real life horror movie.
Okay. So we did your song and dance. Now what did the ghost tell you, Ruth?
Demons, right?
I sensed there was an evil nearby, not demons necessarily.
Oh, that'd be me. Don't mind me.
Close, I can't be certain. What exactly it was,
My
I don't
presence
know.
is a little
That could
intimidating.
be it, or they were in the room, or the building, or somewhere else. I'm not that experienced with the process.
Well, that would have been nice to learn some names.
She dropped like 4 names.
Still, make some nice footage. Come to court time. Is this even admissible in court?
No, I don't think so.
I'm sorry. I'm new to this.
Right.
There was something blocking me. Something stopping it all.
Too bad.
But right before I was cut off, I saw 2 faces.
I saw 2 faces too.
Officer Colton and the girl. They were whispering together in a police car before the
The
events
girl.
that
Which
had
girl?
happened. She warned him about what was going to happen. She was asking to be rescued. That She couldn't know if her plan to hurt the others was going to work. To be pulled from the circle. And then 3 other faces there that night. A mirror. All gaining extraordinary power.
Wow. That's real.
Totally.
That's what you saw?
Totally real.
Sorry, Len.
3 faces.
Feel lightheaded.
Have some more.
No, give her a Pepsi.
That's one explanation, I suppose.
That woman needs
Maybe
Pepsi.
their ghosts are just saying, yeah, Ruth. Who knows?
Because, yeah, like, Anemone's kind of nailing the head of the nail. And some of my thought process is, one, like, I can sit here and say, like, yep, this is just a glitch in the video system. None of it counts as proof or evidence for shit, other than your recording medium is malfunctioned, right? But at the same time, that could have been the purpose in the first place. So she, let's say, intentionally failed on appearance, but accomplished something in the process. Whether it's just to accuse other people using the actual system by spooking them and making them believers, regardless of the cameras, or if there's something even bigger going on. Gotta sleep. Yeah, I don't know how much more there is to this game. It feels like we're getting pretty damn close to the end. And I do know that, like, once you've accused, it does spill the beans, which is why I'm kind of nailing as much as I can in terms of thoughts myself before I click that, because there's no going back after that, right? Whoa, not sure what those glitches were. Like I said, the functionality is glitchy. Funding for it was pulled halfway through development by Olympia to use on some new bondage transit plan. Damn you bondage transit plans. The database is alpha or beta at best. No, it said alpha. I read it. It said alpha. Chief Vincent says, guys, is everything okay? I've been off the grid on this, watching your investigation from afar. Our tech guys just pulled me in, showing some weird activity going on over your network. They're looking into it. I don't feel like I gained any new keywords that I would search. I'm going to utilize this feature because I don't want to endlessly you have to keep typing shit. We have Colton.
The Main Street rats. Emboldening the town's image. Find a pile of trash, they're not far off. Picking through most of the time. What about them? They're nothing but trouble, honestly. And people tolerate them. Enablers. They give them money. I sometimes drive by 4th near the theater lot where they congregate and wonder, is this the end? Are we in the end times? Ever since the mid-'80s, we elected that liberal parasite of a mayor who wanted Landsend to become a young town with bohemian-style culture instead of staying true to our roots. You know, good people with good values who live here. They're the ones that deserve better. Instead, we have this half-college culture, half-homeless culture, more like it. It's always been a powder keg, though. There's a culture war going on. Sorry, I'm ranting.
Yeah, say something interesting. Evidence. Is it the powder keg? What the hell is a powder keg? Ooh, goths. Goths are us. Doesn't look very goth. Not from the outside. Memories of Main Street, glitter something. Welcome to this place. And then they Photoshop out whatever that sign might be. Yeah, at this point I'm going to utilize probably this thing unless we hit a huge lead of some sort. Keep going, you're on the right track. Another video's on the database screen. Colton?
What all goes on at the Festival of Fire that you've been to?
The cops, you guys patrol it, you know.
That wasn't where I was going with my question. We're aware of the event.
Burning Man.
Well, away from the fun and games, there are some places in town that celebrate in different ways.
How so?
People think it's the night to do stuff, try stuff. One night of the year.
What do you mean, like drugs?
No, I mean, that too, kind of, but that's not what I meant.
What do you mean?
They try stuff. They're more open to stuff. Having fun and serious stuff, like witchcraft.
Witchcraft?
Yeah, like spells and stuff. It's kind of what this town is known for, you know.
Really? That's what the town is known for now.
Partially, yeah.
Yeah, ask us about our witchcraft. Come for the $1 beers, but stay for the witchcraft. Why am I clicking those messages? Give me freebie. One more on the database screen. So what is interesting is there's some kind of hacker message that's basically just trying to tell us everyone's guilty. On top of anything else. I don't think it would be this simple of an answer either, right?
Our house still bears the name our family experimented adopting at one point. Believe it was my mother who thought it'd be more American sounding and easier to pronounce. I've kept it, although I'm thinking about reverting it back to the original Brewstrom. Officially, Natalia Brewstrom on my birth certificate. My explorer/Dutch great-grandfather married a beautiful Russian woman in his adventures. We have quite a big family tree, and you can see it traced back very far. It must have been an exciting time for him to be alive, much more freer, unlike
Sounds
now.
like she's reading a script.
Everyone seems so paralyzed by fear now. I'm sorry, what?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, I thought you did. Sound like you whispered something to me? Anyway, I was saying we're Slavs tracing our roots back to the forests of Eastern Europe before that time. All very interesting to me, but I doubt we're here to talk about my genealogy. Let's get back to the topic that's useful to you, Lieutenant.
Thanks, Karen. Apparently controlling the conversation. So that video had a playback error in it, and something happened in real time during it as well. She's a witch. She's a fucking witch, I knew it! Alright, Captain, keep them coming. Yes, Heather.
The only thing I remember, and this is really vague, and I'm not sure, but I swear the person standing in the living room was wearing something abnormal. I remember seeing all one color for their clothes,
White.
or all one pattern when I ran by. I don't remember anything else about them. That's the only thing. It all happened so quickly, though. Maybe something on their head, too, or something covering their face.
VR headset. They're all in VR. That explains it. They were all VRing it up. Case solved.
Barbaric place. Better than the great public asylums we had to house the mentally troubled, but not by a long feather. And for children, too, essentially. I suppose some were in a rush to be adults. But there were always stories of young people arriving and never to be seen again. Who knows? Likely shuffled out, aged out to prison, but some hopefully to better places. Likely many disappeared in the system.
At least a place that
Doesn't
has
take much, I suppose.
like full gigabit
We can
internet.
be quite cruel as a society to those mentally unsound or different.
Think about the asylum, huh? No. Patience. Yeah, I don't know what would have brought that video about. That whoever decided to add that as a feature, though, pop one new video. Thank you, because that's a good feature. Simulacra 2 had it as well.
I was born and raised here. I love my town. We've got a lot of hard-working people out here. We got the retirement population and the vacationers, mostly. I became a cadet nearby while in college. Met some fine folks there, and now I'm pushing retirement. Honestly, I don't know when I'll pull the trigger on actually retiring, though. I stay active, and I'm proud of the work I've done here. Shame about some of the decisions the city has implemented, of course. They kind of let anything fly. Hell, we have a witchcraft store on Main.
Oh dear.
Excuse me. Spiritual shop. No idea how a store like that stays in business. Attracts all sorts.
Supply and demand.
Anyway, I like to think the Force keeps a good watch over everything and keeps things in check, you know.
That's... So these might be a little bit random, I guess, since it's not like following through a series of branches, but rather pulling kind of random.